Andre Carter knew these streets like the back of his hand. 27 years old, born and raised in Miami. A delivery driver with a reputation for being on time, polite, and dependable. Rain or shine, night or day, Andre made his rounds to every corner of the city. His scooter was more than just transportation, it was his livelihood, his partner, his freedom. Late Friday night, 11:47 p.m. The city was alive in its usual rhythm. Cars buzzing through the streets, neon lights blinking, laughter echoing from the clubs downtown. Andre was on his last delivery of the night, or so he thought. New order request. Andre frowned. Unknown customer. The address, vaguely familiar, but not in a good way. That part of Overtown wasn't on most delivery routes. Too many abandoned properties, too much trouble. But the payout on the order was double the usual rate. Easy money. One last drop. Then home. He typed out a quick message to his girlfriend, Tasha. Last drop, then home. Heart emoji. Tasha always worried when he worked these late hours. She had asked him more than once to pick up fewer night shifts, especially in certain parts of the city. But Andre couldn't afford to turn down the extra money. Not with the bills piling up and his other job cutting his hours again. The scooter roared to life beneath him as he turned toward the pin location. The rain had started again, light but steady, the streets slick and shiny under the glow of the streetlights. He pulled his jacket tighter and pressed on. As he rode, Andre's thoughts wandered. His last conversation with Milo, his childhood friend, echoed in his head. Milo had warned him just a few days ago. Man, I'm telling you, these side hustles, they'll catch up to you if you're not careful. You know there's more than food moving out here at night, right? Andre had laughed it off at the time. Milo always thought the worst of people. But the truth was, Andre had been struggling. The debt from his mom's medical bills, the rent creeping higher every year, and the hours at the warehouse job getting cut down to scraps. The delivery gig had started as a side hustle. Lately, it had become the main one. The address came into view. The house looked like something out of a horror movie. Overgrown weeds crawling up what was left of the chain-link fence. Windows boarded up, except for one on the second floor with the curtains swaying behind cracked glass. The porch light flickered weakly, casting strange shadows across the peeling paint of the front door. Andre slowed the scooter to a stop at the curb. He cut the engine and sat there for a moment, staring at the house, debating whether the payout was really worth it. The money was good, though. Too good to just walk away from. He reached into the insulated delivery bag strapped to the back of the scooter and pulled out the order. 2 containers, still warm. No name on the receipt, just the address. All right, he muttered to himself. Let's make this quick. Andre made his way up the creaking front steps, the wooden boards beneath his boots groaning with every step. He knocked once on the door, firm but polite. Nothing. He knocked again, louder this time. Still no answer. Hello? Delivery for whoever ordered? He called out, trying to keep his voice steady. Silence. Only the sound of the rain tapping against the boarded windows and the faint dripping of water somewhere nearby. Andre took a step back, about to turn away. But then the door creaked open. Slowly. Just a few inches. He froze. Hello? He tried again, leaning forward slightly, peering into the darkness beyond the doorframe. No movement, no voices, the faint smell of damp wood and something metallic-chung in the air. Andre looked back toward the street. No one around. His scooter sat waiting at the curb, engine still warm. He hesitated, his fingers tightening around the handle of the delivery bag. Hey, I'm just gonna leave the order right here on the porch, all right? He called into the house. Still no answer. Against his better judgment, Andre nudged the door open a little farther with the toe of his boot. The hinges groaned in protest. Anybody home? He tried one last time. Silence. Andre took one cautious step inside. The floor beneath him creaked. The air felt colder inside the house, the smell of mildew stronger. The faint dripping sound grew louder. Somewhere deeper in the house, water hit a metal basin rhythmically, like the ticking of a slow clock. Andre's heartbeat quickened. His instincts told him to leave, to turn around, to get back on his scooter and forget about the delivery. But curiosity, or maybe stubbornness, kept his feet planted. One more step forward. Then, the door behind him creaked shut. The house swallowed the sound, leaving only the soft dripping in the distance and the hammering of Andre's heart. It had been 2 days. 2 days since Tasha Robinson last heard from Andre Carter. At first, she had told herself not to panic. Sometimes he picked up extra orders without saying. Sometimes his phone died and he didn't have his charger. He was always hustling, always chasing the next dollar. That was Andre. But 2 days? 2 days was too long. The last text he sent her was still sitting there on her screen. Last drop, then home. None. She had read it over and over again, as if the message itself might change, might rewrite the reality that he hadn't walked through the door like he promised. His phone went straight to voicemail. No replies. No updates on social media. His scooter wasn't at the apartment complex parking lot, and no one at the delivery company had heard from him. Tasha's chest ached from holding her breath as long as she had. She knew Andre, knew his routine, his habits, and something about this silence wasn't right. By the time the second day passed, she couldn't sit still any longer. She grabbed her keys and drove straight to the nearest police station. The officer at the front desk barely looked up when she spoke. "I'd like to file a missing person report," she said firmly. The officer sighed, clicking away at his computer. "Name? Andre Carter, 27. He hasn't been home in 2 days." The officer finally met her eyes. 2 days, huh? Adults sometimes take off for a while. You sure he's not just out blowing off steam somewhere? Tasha's jaw clenched. He's not like that. He would have called me. He always calls. The officer gave a half shrug, clearly unconvinced. Is he in any kind of trouble? Drugs? Gangs? No, Tasha snapped. He's a delivery driver. He works nights, that's all. The officer filled out the form slowly, asking questions that felt more like accusations than concern. When she left the station, she felt no closer to finding Andre than before. Frustrated, she called Milo. He still hasn't shown up? Milo asked, worry creeping into his voice. No. And the cops aren't taking it seriously. They think he just wandered off. There was a long pause. Tasha, I didn't want to say this before, but I know Andre's been hurting for money. Bad. He's been taking on some side jobs. Not just food runs. Other deliveries. Cash under the table. I warned him it wasn't safe. Tasha's heart sank. What kind of jobs, Milo? I don't know all the details, Milo replied, but I heard rumors. People running packages that aren't always what they seem. Some of these drop spots, they're not friendly places. Tasha gripped the steering wheel tighter. Do you know where his last drop was? Milo was quiet for a moment. I can find out. Tasha spent the next few hours driving the routes Andre usually worked. She talked to local store owners, fast food workers, other drivers who might have seen him. Everyone had the same answer: one had seen Andre since Friday night. By the time evening came, Milo called her back. Tasha, the last order he picked up pinged from this address out in Overtown. Vacant house been empty for months. Text me the address, Tasha said. I'm going there. Wait, Tasha. Don't go by yourself. You don't know what you're walking into. I'm not waiting for anyone else to care, Milo, she snapped. I'm going. The house was worse than she imagined. Sagging roof, windows sealed with rotting boards. The porch light was out now. It looked dead, abandoned. But there, tangled in the weeds near the porch, half buried under the overgrowth, was Andre's delivery bag. Her heart stopped. Tasha rushed to the bag, yanking it free from the brush. It was empty. No food containers, no receipts. But inside one of the side pockets, a burner phone. Cheap, black plastic, scratched screen. It buzzed to life in her hand as soon as she pressed the power button. Only one number saved in the contacts. G. The screen lit up with an incoming message. Meet me where he made the drop. Come alone. Tasha stared at the screen, the words burning into her eyes. Her hands trembled, but she forced herself to stay calm. She knew this was the only lead she had. Whatever was waiting at the other end of that message, she couldn't ignore it. She called Milo back. I found his bag. There was a burner phone inside. Someone just texted it. Told me to meet them at the drop spot. Alone. Tasha, that sounds like a setup. You can't go there by yourself. I don't have a choice, Milo. If the cops won't help and no one else cares, then it's on me. I need to know what happened to Andre. Milo cursed under his breath. At least let me tail you from a distance. If something goes sideways, I can call for help. No, I'm not putting you in the middle of this, Tasha said, her voice steady despite the fear curling in her gut. Tasha, I'll text you the location after. Just stay by your phone. Without waiting for him to argue further, she hung up. The address from the GPS led her to the edge of the shipping yards near the port. Rows of stacked containers loomed overhead like silent giants, their surfaces rusted and scarred from years of salt air. The place felt deserted, but shadows could hide a dozen people here easily. Tasha parked her car just outside the main gate and walked the rest of the way, her footsteps echoing against the metal walls of the containers. Every creak of metal, every shift of the wind through the stacks put her nerves on edge. The phone buzzed again. Keep walking. Red container, 4th row. She swallowed hard and followed the instructions, weaving between the containers until she reached the row. There it was, the red container, its paint peeling in long strips, the number spray painted sloppily on its side. A figure stepped out from the shadows behind it. Hood up, face hidden beneath the rim, hands in pockets. Tasha Robinson? The figure asked, voice low, distorted by some kind of filter. She didn't answer, but her posture gave her away. Yeah, thought so, the figure said. Where's Andre? She demanded, forcing her voice to stay steady. You're asking the wrong questions, the voice replied. The question you should be asking is, what was he really delivering that night? Tasha's hands clenched into fists. If you know where he is... The figure cut her off with a small shake of his head. I know a lot of things, and I know curiosity gets people killed around here. I'm not leaving without answers. The figure paused, then slowly pulled something from his pocket, a flash drive. He held it out toward her. This? It might help you find him, or it might just get you killed faster. Tasha took the drive, her pulse pounding. Play it somewhere safe, the figure said, turning away. And if I were you, I'd hurry. Time's running out. Without another word, he melted back into the shadows, leaving Tasha standing alone beneath the towering stacks of steel. The burner phone buzzed one last time as she turned to leave. Tick-tock. Tasha's hands shook as she slid the flash drive into the laptop. She wasn't sure what she expected to find. A note? A location? Anything that could lead her closer to Andre. The folder on the drive contained one single video file. No title, no date. She clicked play. The video crackled to life, grainy and unstable. A dimly lit room, concrete walls, a chair bolted to the floor. And there, slumped in the chair, hands tied behind his back, face bruised and bloodied, was Andre. Her breath caught in her throat. Andre lifted his head slowly, blinking against the harsh light shining down on him. His lip was split, one eye swollen nearly shut, but it was him. Then another figure stepped into the frame, masked, tall, standing behind Andre with a hand on his shoulder. "Tell her the truth, Andre," the masked person said. Andre coughed, struggling to catch his breath. "Tasha, I'm sorry," he rasped. "I lied to you. This wasn't my first delivery for them. I've been doing these runs for months. I owed money. I thought it was just packages. But this last one, it wasn't what they told me." His voice broke. "It was a child. They're trafficking kids." Tasha's hands flew to her mouth, stifling the sob that threatened to break free. The masked figure leaned closer to the camera. "Now you know," the distorted voice hissed. "Stay out of it, or you'll end up just like him." The video cut to black. The video haunted Tasha's mind long after the screen had gone black. Andre's voice, his broken apology, the terror in his eyes as he confessed the truth. It was a child. They're trafficking kids. The words echoed over and over, each time cutting deeper. Tasha barely slept that night. The glow of her laptop screen stayed on, replaying the video frame by frame, analyzing every flicker of movement, every shadow in the background, searching for something, anything, something that could tell her where he was being held. But the room was too generic. The walls were blank concrete, the floor stained and bare, no windows, no landmarks, just Andre, the chair, and the masked figure standing behind him. By morning, her resolve had hardened. If the police weren't going to move on this, she would. She sent a single text to Milo. "I need your help." Milo showed up at her apartment an hour later. His eyes were bloodshot, his clothes wrinkled like he hadn't slept either. "Tell me everything." Tasha pulled him inside and shut the door behind them. She played the video again. Milo stood frozen as the clip ended. "Jesus, this is worse than I thought." "I know," Tasha whispered, "but there's something else." She turned the laptop toward him, zooming in on the masked figure, the patch on the left shoulder of his jacket. A faint logo, hard to make out, but there. "You see that? It looks like a symbol, some kind of bird. Or wings, maybe?" Milo squinted. Yeah, I know that mark. It's on the jackets of a crew that moves through the docks. Smugglers. Word is, they'll move anything if the money's right. Drugs, weapons, people. Tasha's pulse quickened. "Can you get me close?" Milo hesitated, then nodded. "I know someone who owes me a favor. I'll make some calls." 2 nights later, Milo and Tasha sat parked outside the port entrance, watching the shipping yard through binoculars. Rows of cargo containers stretched out across the lot like a maze. Semi-trucks rolled in and out under the glare of industrial floodlights. Milo pointed. "That's them. Black van. No plates. They've been circling this lot all week." The van crept between the rows, stopping near a cluster of containers. 3 men in dark jackets jumped out, their hoods pulled up, heads on a swivel. Tasha's grip tightened around the binoculars as she focused on one of the men. The same jacket, the same faint logo on the sleeve. "That's it," she breathed. "That's the crew." Milo leaned back in the seat, rubbing his chin. "I know a guy who works the yard, drives the forklifts, quiet type, keeps his head down. Might be able to tell us which containers they're working." Tasha nodded quickly. "Set it up." The following evening, Milo introduced Tasha to Ramon, a middle-aged man with weathered hands and tired eyes. "I ain't looking for trouble," Ramon warned, eyeing Tasha cautiously. "But I seen him, moving containers after dark, loading them onto unmarked trucks. They don't log the pickups. Off the books." Tasha leaned forward. "Do you know which container they've been using?" Ramon scratched the back of his neck. "Red ones. Not always the same. But last night it was 2 rows over from the north fence. Number 1, 74. Can you show me?" Ramon hesitated, then gave a slow nod. That night, under the cover of darkness, Ramon led Tasha and Milo through the yard. They moved quietly between the towering stacks of containers, keeping to the shadows. Finally, they reached the spot Ramon had described. Container 174. Red, peeling paint, fresh scratches around the latch. Ramon pointed, then backed away. "I ain't sticking around for this part." Milo gave him a nod of thanks and turned back to Tasha. "We doing this?" Tasha's jaw clenched. "We're doing this." She stepped forward, hands shaking as she reached for the latch. Tasha's fingers hovered over the latch of container 174. Her heart pounded so hard it felt like it echoed in the hollow space around her. She glanced back at Milo. He gave her a small, steady nod. They were in this together. Slowly, carefully, she pulled the latch open. The door creaked, the sound too loud in the quiet of the shipping yard. Tasha held her breath, waiting, listening. No footsteps, no voices, just the distant hum of machinery somewhere in the distance. Inside, the container was mostly empty. Rows of wooden crates stacked neatly along one wall. A tarp tossed carelessly over something in the far corner. Tasha stepped inside, flashlights sweeping across the crates. Labels marked with codes she didn't recognize. Milo followed close behind, eyes scanning the dark. "Check the crates," Tasha whispered. Milo nodded, moving to the first stack. He pried open one of the crates with a crowbar they'd brought, the wood splintering under the pressure. Inside, wrapped in plastic, were dozens of small boxes. Electronics, phones, tablets. Nothing that seemed out of place at first glance. But Tasha's eyes were drawn to the tarp.